Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crack Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crack Podcast. You're on with your host, Mabricio Mookie Wilson. I'm not going to say I'm honored. I'm not going to say I have a privilege. I'm going to say, look at the hair. Look at the glow. Let's give a big round of applause, please, for Mr. Oguchi. Onyewu.
Oh, geez, I'm gonna clap for that one because I like that.
I'm just happy. See, I was gonna talk some shit, but he actually did put some shit in his background.
And coming all the way from Houston.
How you gonna cut me off? I'm talking.
With the mic in his hand.
I'm talking.
The professional, Mr. Media. Let's get a big round of applause, please, for Damarcus Beasley.
Yeah, man. Hey, so what I was saying, I'm proud of you because you actually put something on your wall. But now I got a new setup. So,
bro, I'm proud of you because your internet finally works.
Well, hey,
through a whole show.
Hey, he looked like he's trapped in the corner, like he's on punishment or something.
Straight up. I'm on timeout. People still use timeout.
I don't got no kids. You tell me.
No, I do not use timeout.
No, I got to go get the belt. Well, we're going to talk about that. But what we're going to talk about is the FA Cup, baby. Look at these two. Hey, look at their faces. Look at their face. Face one, face two. Look at these faces of the haters, of the Gunners. Of the Gunners, 2020 FA Cup champions.
Hey, what did I text you in like the 75th minute? What did I say? I said,
they're going to find a way.
They're going to find out a way to lose it. They're going to find a way.
Yo, man, see, we don't want your energy around us, man, the Emirates Stadium.
They're going to find
Hey, but I want to get another round of applause, man. I want to get another round of applause. Listen, we had a tough season, a lot of drama, a lot of craziness. But I definitely want to speak on Christian Pulisic, who's a dear friend of all of ours, and we definitely are supporters and we are fans of his. But, him pulling up with a hamstring would have changed the game, obviously, if he stayed fit.
Yeah, man. That man. But did you see the manner that he pulled up? He pulled his hamstring like 5 seconds before he dropped. He even got the shot off. I'm thinking like I saw where he screamed. He's still dribbling.
Yeah,
touches the ball.
About at least 3 or 4 more steps.
Yeah, took the ball to his right and tried to get the shot. I'm like, wow, man.
That's Region 1 toughness right there. That's
true.
That's all that is, baby.
True.
You can't get Region 2 no love.
Never.
Nah. But
I think even back in the day, you were trying to switch region.
No, the hell I was not. But no, we got to give. Not even me. Not even we. I'm saying me. We, us. Me. Oh, not us. Me. Yo, he been balling. Christian been balling, and it's not even funny. I think if Chelsea, if he wasn't on the Chelsea team right now, they wouldn't have won half the games they've won since the restart.
They wouldn't have made Champions League.
I mean,
they probably wouldn't have made Champions League.
Is this his team to build around?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far, but
I'm just saying in this moment.
Who's the second threat
right now?
Who's right now the second threat? The really influential player on Chelsea right now. Who's the most influential player?
When Christian made the transfer, they were thinking he wouldn't adapt well. So then he wasn't starting. He wasn't playing. Lampard was saying he's a good player. He just needs to build into himself. And then now it's like every time I look on the score sheet, like he's on it.
Yeah, but that's what you mean. But that's what you call haters because they always gonna try to find something. They'll say he went to Chelsea and he wasn't ready, or it's too much money, or he's going from Dortmund to Chelsea and he's going to be on the bench. They got that reason. So then he preseason, he was in and out. He had some good games when he came off the bench, but beginning of the season, he wasn't starting. He was still kind of coming off the bench. Yeah. They got more, oh no, this is why I told you he wasn't going to play. Haters. Now you got other people saying, well, he is, he has a couple of injury problems, but it's always something with him. What people saying, oh, they're gonna find an excuse not to enjoy and like what Christian's doing right now.
Critics have to do what's in their name tag. They got to critique. They got to hate. And if you can't do, you critique, and that's it. You know what I mean? And all I know is that in the restart of this season, he shut a lot of people up, right? Yeah. And he came out guns blazing, scoring goals, assists, this and that. So for him, I hope he comes back from this injury healthy to start next season because I really liked how he finished this one out.
Yeah, and it wasn't just goals and assists. Yo, he I'm talking about dribbling, getting fouls, penalty kicks in the box.
And Bees, he was
doing everything on the attacking side.
In the Premiership, it's not easy to acclimate yourself so quickly. And especially with a big team that expects you to produce so quickly. So.
And I think I think just because they got the one guy from Ajax. What's his name? I can't say his name. The one they're getting for next year. And then they got the winger Timo as well. Mm. So he got some chat. He got some what do you call that?
Competition.
He got competition. Couldn't get the word out. He got some competition.
Well, that's the thing. Like they say, when you play for a big club, your day of signing is the first day they try to replace you.
Yeah, of course. But he's right now he's rising to the occasion.
Yeah.
He rises to the occasion. There might be some changes throughout the summer. Obviously, they made bringing a couple people in. Some people might leave, but he's trying to stay. He's trying to earn his right, and he's done that, right now. But at the same time, you only got to say that injuries.
So let's not overshadow this with the unfortunate victory 14 times of.
I'm about to say, how long are we going to talk about Christian, goddamn? Christian, beautiful. Clap. But come on.
Listen, Arsenal, I'll give you a little clap. I'll give you a small clap.
Christian didn't dominate the game. He had some brilliant times in the game.
This guy.
But you got to admit, Arsenal had, we deservedly supposed to win that game.
Deservedly?
We the most dangerous. He defended well at times.
I'll tell you what.
I didn't watch the whole game.
I'll tell you why Arsenal won.
He didn't watch the whole game. He's such a liar.
They were the most rested team in the Premiership because they ain't played since that game. All season they ain't played since that game. You can't count. Any other game that they played, they were sleeping. They had so much rest. They've been sleeping all season up until this FA Cup final.
Listen, you know what? I know what it feels like to be on top and to win trophies, right? And people to hate below you. And it's all right. But I just want to say big up to all the Gooners and the Gunner fans.
Okay, here's a question. Here's a question for you since you're a Gunners fan.
Yeah.
Did they have a good season?
Of course
not. And don't, of course not, right? So that, okay.
All right, but let's know why they didn't have a good season, right? We changed coaches in the middle of the year. We had unfortunate injuries that we have every year. And we're in transition.
Every team has injuries.
Exactly. And we're not that deep because we're not that rich. We don't spend the money. We don't have, unfortunately, like Man City and Manchester United had three strong teams.
You guys do have
tell Arsenal to get the money up there.
They have the money. They don't use it.
But listen, though, we have a lot of young talent coming out of the gate. We're averaging around 22, 23 years old in terms of the team as a whole. I mean, we're in a good position for next year. We have a manager. That's the biggest thing to building a legacy, right? Is having a manager, somebody who has a clear thought, we believe
Here's a question for your manager. Do you think he deservedly got that position?
Yeah, I think he should have got it from the day one. I think we should have brought him in. He was my choice before we brought in that Joker.
From PSG?
Yeah, he was.
Why?
I thought why? I thought that because
he didn't have any first head coach experience.
It's all right, but the type of player he was, right? He was always coaching on the field.
So you're saying a good player means a good coach?
No, he wasn't a great player. He wasn't my favorite Arsenal player.
That's my point. I'm saying why do you?
He was a good.
Should have been
because he was a leader, right? He was a person that thought the game. He didn't have no crazy athletic ability. Tremendous. His touch was good. But he had to think the game. He had, as a center midfielder, he had to be the engine to lead.
Okay, but you're talking.
So he reads the game. He reads the game. That's what makes he's a good coach.
Player.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's a good coach. He reads the game. He had to make sure he was in a good position because he wasn't athletic like yourself and Beasley to recover. He had to make sure he was there.
My point is, you're saying because if a player reads the game well, then
he has the opportunity to be a good coach. Correct.
So he should be automatically seen as the next head coach of Arsenal.
No, listen. I'm just saying. To me, I want somebody who knows the pedigree of Arsenal.
Can you not see Gooch? Can you not see Gooch face? Like I'm
from New York City, baby. I'm built for that. Let's go.
You keep answering this question.
Let's go. But but again, I just want to say much love to all the Gunners. The year we had with the
Alecko Excandarian. Congratulations.
Exactly. Yo, speak about Alecko, man. He's bigger than you, Gooch.
What are you talking about? Oh, muscle wise?
What?
The man's been in the gym. He got that basement gym.
Man, listen, he came out of quarantine, the Incredible Hulk. He might go play American football.
The Armenian monster.
The Armenian monster, man. But next thing I want to talk to you guys about, I just want to know what you guys feel, what you heard about, is Angel City. Incredible situation in terms of as a ownership group. Bees, can you talk to us a little bit about that? I know you received an email recently, but what do you know about the situation? And
I mean, I don't know. I don't know much. I mean, I'm happy for the women's game.
Yeah,
the women's game, the women's sports. You know, I think it's great that there's so many people that are interested in bringing a team to LA, and they got it done. You know, actresses, actors, athletes,
business.
I think half the women's team are part owner of the team. So
yeah,
but it's great though. You know, I think for me, and I've always said, I think I've said this in past shows, that I love that we have soccer people in charge. I think soccer people, someone that can have the money, but the soccer people need to be in charge when they do these kind of things. So I'm really excited and happy for them. I think it started in 2022, and I think it's great for. I think it'd be something great and have a starting something really really big growing for women's soccer in this country.
Coach, I'm actually a real question.
It better be real.
All right, is that a good investment? And do you think the women's game is really going to be maybe profitable?
Look, man, I think as Bees was saying, this is first that since the NWSL has been out for many times, I think this initiative in Angel City is going to spark more interest in investing in the already pre-existing franchises, which it should, right? You got such a star-studded female investment group in Natalie Portman, Serena Williams, all these non-soccer figures, right? And I think in order for the NWSL to grow and to gain more notoriety and visibility, these kind of celebrities or names need to spread out and invest in, Utah and Washington.
It can't all be LA, right?
Or it can't all be in LA. It can't all be in Angel City, right? Yeah. In order for the league to grow, it has to be spread out. You can't just make one superstar club. It has to make the whole league a superstar.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. I mean, you look at MLS. I mean, I'm not part of MLS, but you look at MLS, and in '96, how many teams they start with?
I think like 10 or 12 or something.
Yeah, what 10 teams. So you got to start somewhere. That's my point. You got to start somewhere. Yeah. And I think with them creating so much buzz and the people that's behind it, it's going to really get people more involved and more excited about maybe starting other franchises in different cities. I think it's a good start.
Yeah, fellas, I'm not gonna lie, man. I've been in tune every night watching the MLS. MLS Is Back
every
tournament.
Night.
Every night, ain't gonna lie. Bad and good games I've been watching, and it's definitely been some bad games, and definitely been some good games. But
I watched a couple. They're not all been bad though.
Exactly, and some really good games. I want to make. I'm not the biggest MLS fan. I don't hate the MLS, but it's our league. It's easy to judge. It's easy to criticize. But I just want to say, and I give a round of applause to MLS. I thought they did a great job of keeping the players safe, and as well as continuing the statement, Black Lives Matter, seeing that every game. I thought they were going to do it to the first weekend. I definitely tip my hat off to them as well as the players. I'm sure we'll put the pressure on them. But big shouts out to the commissioner and to the MLS staff for definitely representing and doing it right for the country.
Dude, you look like you want to say something. You like you hold your tongue. You want to say something.
I'm not holding anything. I will say something.
Yeah, here it comes.
Look, this is a podcast. We got to get our
that's what I'm saying. You were waiting. You were waiting until Mookie stopped talking.
I never like to cut somebody off. No, I think they did a good job, and especially in the beginning of cutting out the cancers. Right, they had to get rid of Dallas. They had to get rid of Nashville. The tournament could have looked completely different had those teams been still allowed in.
Great point.
They're in the beginning, the players made complaints about the food and the this and the that. But at the end of the day, when you're playing and you're doing what you love, it's all secondary, right? There had to be some give and takes in the whole process. Nobody liked the circumstances. But I will say, right now I'm impressed with a couple teams. I will say my former team, Philly Union, for me, they're the favorites to win the MLS Is Back tournament. For me, they're the favorites.
I think everybody agrees to that.
After that, I might even say Minnesota, surprisingly, might win this. I will say now, because you want to talk about Chris Mueller, I know that. That Orlando,
they play the best football.
They played good football, and I saw some tweets and memes from the fans, and after they beat LAFC, and I saw I saw a logo with the LAFC.
That shit was kind of funny.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
Why not?
The L. I love that.
I'll tell you.
The social
media
beef. I like that.
I'll tell you why. Because
but you leave it to them. You don't go do. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Yes. Yeah. The club shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
The supporter groups.
Had LA won, you wouldn't have heard nothing, and they would have been just like, all right, we're on to the next round.
Yeah, that's why you say they talk to trash.
I guarantee that social media guy would have tweeted something funny.
They wouldn't have. And look, and they're the younger franchise, acting like the older one. So I'm saying, okay, Orlando has its issues internally for sure. I would say let's not get crazy because of a tournament. Let's not get crazy because of a tournament that everybody's not at full strength and everything. First of all, Villa wasn't even there for LAFC.
We're not using excuses.
My point is, excuses. Orlando, the biggest change in that organization is the head coach. And
exactly.
You can see that the players are very receptive to him, right? And I won't say anything else about Orlando City. I will say that the biggest positive of that club and that current team right now is the coach.
No doubt about it. I mean, because they had talent before, just never couldn't put it together. And you have a coach who's very experienced in the MLS, has been successful almost every place he's gone, and he's proven to me, especially coming to Orlando with so much problems, like Gooch said, and to be able to turn that around in one tournament. I just think there's a lot of success in the future, and Orlando deserves that. The crowd, the stadium, they do deserve some good football. And I want to see some good football. And I'm seeing that at times, Bees, like you said, right? There's still some ugly ball out there. Peter Vermeer's got to get it together over in Kansas City. He has to find a way to
what do you think about Peter? Like, what you think he's at the end of the road at KC and that they should think about a replacement?
I don't want to say.
I'm sure they're thinking about it because last year was they had a horrible season.
Yeah, but isn't he the president, sporting director?
Yeah, I think he has 5 different titles.
Yeah, doesn't he drive the van? Isn't he also the equipment manager? I mean, he basically runs the show. I think when Peter has to be a person who runs the show, you have to bring in people who are going to give some new life in terms of the thought process and where the game is going right now and where the league is. I think that's for him, that's the best thing he can do. Is bringing an assistant, bringing some help.
I'm just saying, like, in terms
he's not giving that up, though.
In terms of,
he ain't gonna leave. I don't think he would leave.
Look, at the end of the day, nobody's gonna give it up. They're gonna get kicked out. Nobody gives up.
Who's gonna kick him out? That's the key.
Look, like, he's not the owner. He's not the president. Like, there are people above him.
He walks around like he's the owner.
Well, that's fine. He can do that until he can't, right?
Yeah.
And so my point is, there has to be a standard, just like Atlanta, and they're firing of their head coach, right?
Yeah.
Apparently they had a standard. I personally don't agree with it.
Why?
Not because I like the coach so much, but because, this MLS Is Back tournament and the circumstances surrounded by it, nobody's working at full capacity, right? It is what it is. It was thrown together, and everybody knows that it's not the best situation. And so for me, even though like Luke said, some of the football is great and this and that, I don't really rate all the teams 100% at what they could be. Just like I don't rate all the coaches 100% of what they could be. So if a team didn't perform so great in this tournament, for me, it's like, doesn't mean like they're complete shit. You know what I mean? They didn't have the circumstance of training properly and everything like that.
Fellas,
go ahead, Moot.
The games that you did watch, what players stood out to you? What players stood out?
Wait.
Why are we switching?
We stay on this Atlanta.
You got things to do, brother. You got things to do.
Just I got one comment about the Atlanta.
Go on.
I like it, and the reason why is because a lot of teams don't hold their coaches accountable for losing seasons and continued losing seasons. I think it's too much buddy nonsense with the coach.
But do you think that he should be accountable in these circumstances? I mean, if this continued to the end of the season, then yeah.
Why?
Cool.
We mean end of the season for what? They want to win.
Win what?
Why are you gonna? Oh wait. Why are you gonna wait to the end of the season to fire a coach if you guys are not winning games? I'll give you a slight understanding about. No, wait. I'll give you a slight understanding about the tournament. But you said give him to the whole season. For what?
No, I didn't say give him to. I said this tournament.
That.
I said this tournament right now does not constitute for the rest of the season. So after this tournament, you're going to find for these 4 games.
Yeah, but it started in the beginning as well, and in the last year they weren't playing that well under the DeBoer. You know what I'm saying? They weren't playing
not as good as they were prior to.
Yeah, and I saw the I don't know if it was a GM or he says that he felt that he gave DeBoer enough firepower to make a good team. I don't know. I can't remember who said it. I don't want to misquote anybody, but I do remember reading that. So if he says that he's the boss, he's the one that makes the decisions, he got to go. And the fact that Atlanta has a standard. They have to win. They want to win. They want to be the best at everything. And I'm talking about from on the field to off the field, from the marketing guy to the equipment dude to the fans in the stands to whatever. You know what I'm saying? They want to be the best at everything. And if they're not the best at anything, somebody's got to go.
Do you think that the next hiring should be domestic or international, or will be?
It will be international.
I mean, I'm sure it's going to be international.
Who's there domestic? Who's there domestic?
I mean, you saw that short list.
Oh yeah, can we speak on that? Right?
I thought you wanted to transition, buddy.
I do want to transition, but you keep on bullying the conversation. But yeah, for me, right, and I think it was good and great points you guys made about Atlanta, right? And I think that's to show the growth of the league, maybe, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe Atlanta's setting the standard and leading as they always have been since they came into the league. That hopefully this trickles down to the decisions that DC United and New England and Utah, these other guys who kind of are very.
Well, you can't say New England. Wow. Bruce didn't put the team back up on a good scale now.
What he win?
No, he didn't win nothing. I'm just saying. But before that, they were shit, and they got rid of Frito.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about their history and past and what they've done before, right? The Jay Eves and stuff like that, right?
Trash.
And hopefully we'll keep on moving forward, in terms of having that type of standard of bringing in Gold Star coaches, But one thing I wanted to talk about is that I want to hear from you guys personally. Who do you thought stood out during the MLS Is Back tournament? Give me one or two guys. No, like that bad?
Hey, ain't nobody said nothing. Ain't nobody said a word.
It might got your attention. There's a lot of new players.
So did we transition? We transitioned?
Yes.
I thought you wanted to talk about. All right, we transition. We go to the players now. For me, it was I like him, young boy on Philly Union, Brandon Aronson.
Silky.
Yeah, he's smooth. I was my last year there. He was in the academy. He trained a couple times with the first team. You saw the talent, and then I think in the last 2 years, he's really coming into his own. Been called up to the first national team a couple times, and he's not playing like a 19-year-old.
Yeah,
he's playing like, and he's in the center of the midfield, so he's playing very experienced, very confident, and I think that as his body develops and his game develops, he can only get better.
Yeah, I remember I put out a tweet last week. I can't remember what game I saw, and that was the first time I ever saw him play. And I'm like, who is this kid? I'm like, man, this dude can ball. He got a little something, something different. You don't see, that little bit of swag that that other people have or that other players have. And I like what I saw. So I'm definitely gonna be keeping track of his career, his movements. I hear that there's a lot of interest from Europe on him. So. Okay, I got a question. Do you think, before we get into anything else, do you think more players should go over to Europe and have that experience or have that to?
I think the question is, do you think Brendan, right, Aronson will develop if he stayed here in the MLS?
I'm going to answer Beasley's and then yours. I'm an advocate for Europe just because that's where I was developed. I mean, obviously I was developed in youth soccer here in America, but then at 19 went to France or so. I personally, for me, don't think I would have developed and had the career that I had I'd stayed in the MLS.
I agree with that.
At that point, yeah, right? There's arguments that as good as Landon is or was, he could have even been better had he stayed in Europe or would have developed other ability skills. I think that still now, regardless of how good the league is progressing, how good the MLS is getting it year by year, it can't compete with the level of competition in Europe. It can't. And if they say they are, they're lying to themselves, like hands down. So for me, as a player, if you want to be the best you can be, you want to be challenged at your best. And at this point, the best is not in America.
Yeah, I think for me, especially younger players, when you get to a level where you're starting and playing every game and know you're going to start, it's time to go. It's time to go. Because you've done what you need to do in this country, in MLS or whatever team you play for. Yeah. Go and challenge yourself. Go and challenge yourself. You know, if you're playing in Holland, Germany, France, wherever there's interest, you know, go and challenge yourself to see, you know, what it's like. I want younger players to go and experience what it is, what Europe is all about. You know, it ain't gonna be all, you know, tulips and roses.
Yeah, and not all of them are gonna make it, right?
You walk in that locker room and you a foreigner.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you did, doesn't matter what videos they saw. Because I guarantee, as soon as you're named it, as soon as they say Mookie Wilson, he signed for Arsenal. Every player is gonna be like Mookie Wilson. If they don't know you, they're like, who is this? Who is that? Okay, what position does he play? Blah blah blah. There you go.
What's his highlights?
That's what they're gonna do, and they're gonna be as soon as you walk in that door, they be like, I can't stand this dude. They ain't gonna give you no handshake. Cause I mean that's how.
Hey, they loved me, boy. They came. Bees, tell me how you feel, Bees.
Yeah, they didn't like me. They did not like me. As soon as I walked in the door, they were like, man.
They couldn't find where Fort Wayne, Indiana was.
So I mean, it's just I want, you know, younger, you know, and it's hard to say because, you know, you definitely want to have MLS be your, you know, your lead, American league, have, you know, experience and grow the American player. But for me right now, still, I still think that they need to go to.
You know who I wish had gone to Europe? I mean, he probably still thinks he can or should or will or whatever, is Jordan Morris.
Yeah.
I know he had multiple opportunities because at the time I was speaking to him. I was speaking to Jurgen at the time. Oh, by the way, we haven't even announced who we're going to have on this as a guest. Should you do it, Mookie? I mean,
we be getting conversation.
Not only do we have one of the top coaches and former U.S. national team coach, but we have one of the most decorated footballers in the world. He's won almost anything you can ever think about winning: World Cup, UEFA, Bundesliga. I mean, Player of the Year, Bundesliga, Player of the Year in Europe. I mean, this guy is definition of a legend.
Steven Toronto.
Ready to do.
And Jürgen Klinsmann is going to be our guest, and I can't wait to ask him some questions.
And it's going to be a very interesting conversation because it has to be the first time he had two former players interviewing him. You know what I mean? And we're looking for Jürgen to be truthful and come on the Kodak and keep it real with the gangsters. You know what I mean?
No, I think it'd be good. Jürgen, he's a very opinionated person, and I'm interested. Daddy. But let me go back to Jordan Morris. You know, like I said, Jürgen was speaking with him and myself. I had 3 clubs in Europe that were asking me about him, wanting to sign him. And at the time, he was not in his words.
What 3 clubs were those, Coach?
He wasn't ready to leave the States yet. It's not my place to say what clubs are interested in it. I'll let him say it.
It's over.
I will say clubs in Belgium, France, Germany, and England.
Were you playing for one of those clubs?
I have played for a couple of the clubs that we're interested in.
Okay, cool. That's
well,
fair.
I mean, you know, you can say happiness is everything.
Yeah,
you know, happiness is everything. It depends on where, you know, you feel the most comfortable. You know, if you family.
Listen, if I was getting $1 million to live at home and have your father's the doctor of the team and you're chilling and you grew up and lived, you know, playing for your hometown, the team that you supported the whole time. So that's how he looks at it, you know. And unfortunately,
everybody's different.
We're gonna see.
I don't knock anybody. I'm just saying I would love to see it.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has their own career path. Everyone goes however way they want to go. Whether that's Europe, whether that's state domestic, it doesn't matter. As long as you get what you think you need to get from football, you know, there you go.
Well, listen, we definitely into the Say What segment.
Say what?
Of our show, and I kind of want to play something from one of the leading athletes in the United States, and I'm gonna ask you guys what your thoughts about it, and something I want to talk about. Here we go.
A lot of people kind of use this analogy talking about Black Lives Matter as a movement. It's not a movement. When you Black, it's not a movement. It's a lifestyle. we sit here and say it's a movement, and okay, how long is this movement gonna last? Don't stop the movement. No, this is a walk of life. When you wake up and you Black, that is what it is.
Gooch, a lot of people have. I see things digressing a lot, in terms of the talk and the discussions. How do you feel about that statement and where we are right now today in society?
I think us three, as well as anybody, know that's a very accurate statement, right? Black Lives Matter. It's not a movement. This is what I have woken up to for 38 years, right? It's what I'm gonna wake up to until the day I'm buried. And so he's 100% right. And I think that a lot of people in the beginning were on band, or because it was a cool thing to do, a cool thing to be a part of, and then like kind of dwindles down. You see less and less, and you hear less and less. And I think that we need to revamp it. We need to start throwing it in more people's faces. I mean, even as far as like the MLS, when they named the short list of Atlanta United coaches to replace the fired coach. You have MLS who stood behind the Black Players for Change and Black Lives Matter movement, but were so tone deaf in their announcement of the next coaches that they didn't even think about incorporating any coaches, any option of Black coaches to replace them, until they made an announcement on their Instagram saying, it was brought to our attention that we made a mistake, blah blah blah. We want to release another list, but them releasing another list, cool, great, whatever, claps. But their initial thought was never that. And that's what people need to focus on. What's your first instinct? Their first instinct was to think of no Black coaches whatsoever, right? And that has to change.
Yeah.
Throughout America, whether it be sports, in society, everything. This Black Lives Matter is not. It goes so deep, ingrained in like our thought process and on our happenings that you can even just see like the example I gave you, like a small hiccup like that, it says so much more than the actual post.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do you think,
Beasley, do you think that it's declining in terms of?
I don't think so at all. And I say that because we working behind the scenes. Myself, Gooch, that we don't, and I even the players that don't put someone's name on the back of their jerseys, or put Black Lives Matters on their shirt, or hold up signs and this and that. People can do what they want in that respect. But what are you doing after that? What is the actions that are going on behind the scenes to actually address systemic racism? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to see. That's what I'm happy about, is that just because that you don't see it on Instagram, you don't see it on TV, you don't see it every day in your face. I know myself, and I know Gooch, we're still working. We're still doing things that we can to help the next generation, as far as what's going on in the world right now, and how we can, improve it and be better and be, not equal, but more.
Well, we're definitely going to continue.
We're
definitely going to continue that conversation here on the Crack Podcast, and continue to educate, also to inform, and also to give our opinions on what we're doing next. And I hope you guys are willing to let our audience know what you guys are working on, as well as I will do the same. But ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege and the honor to welcome not only former U.S. men's national team coach, but to me, the one of the best athletes and the best footballers that ever graced this field. Let's get a big round of applause, please, for Jürgen Klinsmann.
What's up, Jurgen? Sorry about the intro. Yeah, sorry about the intro. He gets very excited.
Oh wow, that is so cool!
What's up, Coach?
Great to see you guys. Yeah, what a pleasure.
How you been?
Yeah, doing well. Yeah, I mean, crazy times for all of us, all over the world. But I have to say, Southern California is not the worst place to go through that, go through that period. No, so far so good, and hopefully we are through it, pretty soon.
Coach, how long you've been out there in sunny California in terms of living?
Since 1998, after the World Cup in France. We moved over here, and I was lucky enough to bump into a Californian girl in Europe when I was still playing, and
they got you from Utah.
Yeah.
But hey, Coach, but it looked like, watching you and the way you carried yourself throughout your career and after your career, you always come off like a West Coast, a Cali type of guy. You're cool, smooth, laid back type of personality. I think it's a perfect fit. What do you think?
I think so too. Yeah, no, I very early in my career, I was 19 or 20. I got the opportunity to travel a bit the United States with a friend of mine, and California was just the place where I felt the most comfortable. I just loved that place, and obviously the climate is amazing, but also the people let you do whatever you want. I mean, it's a place where nobody is too nosy, nobody is too curious. Everybody lives alongside and gets along, and therefore, I wasn't surprised that I bumped into a Californian girl later on.
So you didn't want to make a trip to Indiana? Indiana has all those things you just mentioned.
Yeah. Bees doesn't even want to live in Indiana. Jurgen, Mookie gave you the introduction. Great head coach, World Cup player. I need to know, because it's before my time and I only saw you play, from replays and stuff like that. When did you know you were like a top player, striker?
Well, I was really lucky. The way I grew up, very kind of, lower class environment, family. My family until now is a baker family. I just kind of took it one step at a time. So I did all the things that the kids had to do, going through state selection process into the youth national team, and then playing second division in Germany, first division in Germany. And so work your way up. And then got my first call for the German national team. But I think I realized that I can really make something a little bit bigger out of this whole thing when I got an offer on the table from Inter Milan when I played for VfB Stuttgart. I think that kind of opened my eyes and said, shoot, really, is that true? Because at those days, there was in 1989, those days, late 80s, early 90s, the best players in the world were all in Italy. Yeah. Maradona, Careca, Alemão, Mateos, Van Basten, Rijkaard, Gullit, they all were in Italy, and suddenly I had this offer on the table and said, well, I can join one of the biggest clubs in the world with Inter Milan. And that's when I realized, okay, you can really do something exceptional here, career-wise, playing-wise. And it was probably also the most important step in my life, because, as Germans, we have kind of a certain way of seeing things,
Yes.
We always want to, exactly. And my move to Italy kind of really opened my eyes, and I got a very early lesson there in the locker room from a couple of Italian players. I had a problem with my washing machine at home, and I called somebody, and if you can fix it, and the guy said, yeah, I'm there tomorrow, and he didn't show up the next day. He didn't show up for the 3 or 4 days, and then he finally showed up, and he obviously, he went to work, but I said, well, we had an appointment 3 days ago. Me as a German, we had an appointment,
Yeah.
And he said, well, yeah, I know it was 3 days ago, but I'm here, right? I fix your washing machine. What's your problem?
Hey, coach, thank God you never coached the Jamaican national team, because, I don't know if you know about, we have a thing called soon come. That might be 10 minutes or 10 years. You never know,
Exactly.
Coach, living in sunny California, obviously is beautiful, but it's a tough time going on with California with the COVID and the protests and everything, the climate in the States. What's your take on that, and how you are dealing and adapting to it?
Well, I think it's for all of us very, very challenging, because in some way we don't know really kind of how this whole COVID works. How what is the real way to look, the best way to look at it. What is the best source of information for all of us, to stay current, to understand everything better. So this is a really big challenge for all of us, but everywhere in the world, because I obviously talk to my friends or family in Germany, or friends in Italy, that went through a very, very difficult stretch. I have a lot of friends in Milan where it was really, really bad. And then at the same time, the other more social world fell apart, especially here in the United States. And it's just so difficult for all of us to get the right information from hopefully the right source that we have, and make up our mind, understand, is what is right, what is wrong. Yeah. So I think for all of us, it's a challenging time, but also a great learning time, because we have to figure out always, why certain people do certain things. We have to think always what makes that person do that, what makes that person say that. And this is going really, I think it's very helpful for us in the soccer world. We always learn throughout, growing up with the game and then playing the game, and then afterwards, especially now for Oguchi and for Bees, afterwards, hopefully staying involved in the game, if it's coaching, if it's managing, if it's becoming a director, is you always have to kind of think about what is going through the mind of the other person. So that could be a player, it could be a journalist, it could be a fan, it could be so. You realize that you're not doing it perfect to all of them, but at least you put that effort in, and you try to figure out, so why is that person doing that right now? And soccer in a certain way is a great environment to be in, because you have so many different characters, you have so many different personalities, and that was what I wanted to go back with, when I talked about Italy before. For me, the biggest lesson in Italy was really, I, as a German, and I wanted a certain way, I had to take the people the way they are, and I had to accept them the way they are. And my Italian teammates, they told me, hey, Jürgen, if you continue to be the German, then you will have big problems here. It's better to go home. Then go home, it's okay. And I said, no, I'm gonna learn about your culture, not only the language, but also your culture, your way of doing it. And I take them. If you are late, you are late. It's fine, So I think it would be not so difficult for me now in Jamaica. But I think soccer can give you those lessons, and I think being involved in a sport and being involved with a lot of different people from different backgrounds, from different mindsets, helps you a lot.
In the real world.
For sure.
Jürgen, just because you touched on Italy a little bit, was it very common for young Germans to go abroad to play, or when you went to Inter Milan, or how was that?
At those days, it was not common at all, but it was kind of the time where the best players from whatever countries, try to be in Italy, because that's where the music was played, with Maradona, with, Gullit and all these Van Basten. Matthäus was my teammate, and so on. So that was kind of the big wave of players going into Italy. The big money was in Italy.
Jürgen, before you finish, how was it playing against Maradona?
It was a real privilege, to be honest, because I describe Maradona always. I don't know how many times I played him against him. He was playing for Napoli. I was playing for Inter. I played the UEFA Cup final with Stuttgart against him. I played national team World Cup final against him. And I always saw Maradona as a genius, as an artist. You know, it was maybe compared to a quarterback, you know, that can see between people. They throw the ball between people, and he could play the ball between people, or he took the ball himself and went between people.
Either or.
and so for me, Maradona was always something very, very special, exceptional, artistic. Unfortunately, you know, he couldn't kind of balance his private life or, you know, the life off the field with the genius he was on the field. But I met him many times, even afterwards, and I can only tell you, he's a very fun character. He's a good person. He was just overwhelmed with many things. He could not live in Naples. He could not go like we can go in a bar or in a restaurant and have a nice meal. Yeah. Maradona couldn't leave his house. And I think when you see his documentary, Diego, it tells you a little bit about it, you know, and that's why he maybe got involved in drugs and got on the wrong side of things, but he was.
You ever got a chance to hang out? You ever got a chance to hang out with him in Italy?
You can't be a rock star off the field and on the field at the same time.
That's about the times you hung out with him on.
Jurgen, speaking from experience, like that one time that I hung out with him. That's crazy.
You said it right though. He definitely was an artist on the field, and again, used the great grammar of painting on the field and on the pitch. You know, what player? And I'm actually as a fan, right? Which player do you feel you was a teammate that had the biggest influence? Everybody will ask about coach. What teammate had the biggest influence you on your game?
I mean, obviously and when you talk to Beasley and to Oguchi and you go from club to club, you know, you have so many different experiences in different countries. So you have your different favorites in those places, you know. So I had my favorites, you know, teammates. Was Tottenham, was Terry Shadingham, it was Inter Milan, it was Aldo Serena, you know, your buddies up front. In the national team, it was Rudi Völler that I played with for 12 years and stuff like that. But I was very, very fortunate. I had two really good, big mentors in a certain way. One was Bertie Vogts, who I won the European Championship in '96 with. He was my coach as an under 16 national team player for Germany. Yeah. So he kind of guided my whole career. It was along my way, you know, and still today, you know, I brought him into the U.S. national team environment as well, you know, for the World Cup in Brazil. He was always there. He's in his mid-70s. He's a wonderful guy. And also Franz Beckenbauer. Obviously, he's a legend in Germany, in the world. You know, he's like with Pelé and Beckenbauer, these two. And we talked to each other on the phone. And I was very lucky. I had coaches on my side that, you know, Cesar Luis Menotti from Argentina, was Ozzy Ardiles, Argentina, Trapattoni from Italy, and Arsene Wenger I had at Monaco for 2 years. So I had these special coaches that were not only coaches, they were also almost like I would say mentors. You know, I wouldn't say friends now because he's still a coach, but but more the mentoring role that they took on, and I learned from all of them.
Yeah, it's funny you said you had Beckenbauer and, you know, Rude, and I had Gooch. That's all. I got stuck with Gooch. Appreciate it.
But it worked out. We won the Gold Cup in 2013. You know,
a little bit.
Coach, speak. Give us a little insight on what it's like coaching these two jokers, man. Let's start off with Oguchi Onyewu, the big rock in the back. What was it like coaching Gooch? You know, I find him to be a little sensitive with me on the podcast, so you know.
No, I think, I mean, my experience now with the U.S. national team, it was for 5.5 years, almost 6 years. It was very, very, very special, you know, because the players, all of them, you know, great listeners, always up for joking, always up for a laugh. I learned a lot in that time period also, especially off the field, that, you know, the American way of doing things, it's just unique. It's just different, you know, and
as it should be, right? Like every country.
Yeah, as it should be. Yeah. And they taught me a lot, you know, they wanted to do things, you know, like going out on dinners on their own, and you know, and they traveled from all over the world in there. You know, we met up in Miami, and then you flew into Honduras and San Pedro Sula, the kind of the murder city #1 in the world, and it was still cracking jokes all the time.
Yeah.
So I was really, really impressed about how professional the players are coming out of the American environment, you know, and how how they were able to sacrifice and to just to go the extra mile for achieving something, you know. And if you look at Bees and Gucci's career, you know, they not hopped around in Europe or in other. I mean, Bees went to Mexico as well. Every time you go to a different environment, you go to a different country, it's a risk. Yeah. It's a risk because you don't know if they welcome you there. You don't know how the team will work out. You don't know if the coach really gives you a chance. And American players in general, they like to take that risk, and they do it, you know, and they want to improve. And, you know, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, you play MLS. It's totally cool. It's absolutely competitive. But I was really kind of amazed on how the players, you know, took all those challenges ahead of them. You know, when Beast told me stories there in Puebla, I said, "Whoa, I know, I don't think I want to travel."
I can write a book about that.
You should write a book, Beast in Puebla. That would be amazing.
Coach, speaking about mentorship and coaching, one of the stories that Beast gave on this podcast is when his time in Germany, and he wasn't getting a lot of playing time, and you asked him, you know, Beast, how come you're not playing? And, you know, you taught myself and also our listeners something. You said, listen, it's never about the coach. Every coach wants to win. And Bees can discuss that a little bit further in terms of how he felt about that and how it might have changed his career or changed the way he was looking at things at that time. What do you think about Bees?
Yeah. No, I remember the conversation we had, and you asked me you asked me why I didn't play in Germany. And I didn't really have it. I didn't have an answer for you. I was like, well, I just guess the coach didn't like me. You know, but I remember, you know, you told me that every coach on any given day, you know, regardless of injuries or whatever, they're going to put the best 11 on the field that day to win a game. If it's a cup game, if it's a league game, if it's a friendly game, they're going to put the best 11 that they can to win the game that day. However that you know that happens. If it's the best players, or if they think they can get, you know, maybe a little something from a guy that's coming off the bench, whatever it is, you're going to put the best 11 on that day to play. And so the point of it is that from that conversation, I got out of it that there was something I wasn't doing personally, you know, to warrant me to play in Germany when I was in Hanover. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, that's kind of right. You know, I've been kind of saying excuses. The coach didn't like me. He didn't really speak English, blah, blah, blah. And so from that meeting that we had, and I kind of walked away from it like, you know, I need to just, you know, focus on what I need to do. So from that day on, I did not put it into a coach's hands of him not selecting me to play. I tried to, when I was in Mexico, and then I went to Houston, you know, I tried to make myself available every single time. So I couldn't make the excuse of saying to myself, well, the coach didn't like me. I wanted to make sure that the coach, you know, put me on the field, and I was going to do every single thing possible that I could do so I could play.
Jurgen, you helped Damarcus to grow up.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I never had really came to that problem when I was. Well, I did a little bit when I was in Rangers, but everywhere I played. Everywhere I went, I played. And when I went to Germany, I didn't. And I just wanted to point the finger at everybody else instead of looking in the mirror and saying, "Hey, Bees, you're not doing something right. Yeah. You know, you stop being selfish and, you know, get back to work." So I remember I took that when I went back to Mexico. And so that's some good words you told me, Jurgen. I really appreciate that. And I still hold that to this day.
Good. When you were in Europe, did you ever had the feeling that, you know, you should have played definitely and you were not selected for whatever reason?
There were moments where I definitely felt that way. And even more so when teammates told me, they're like, why aren't you playing? You should be playing. So that makes that feeling in me even bigger, right? Like, yeah, I should be playing. Sometimes, you know, at times if I feel a certain way, I'll confront a person. And there's times where I've confronted coaches. And
can you speak about those times, Coach, and what teams?
Yeah, let's say I'll tell you straight up.
It's the crack, Coach. We talk direct here, Coach.
When I was in Milan, Leonardo had left. They fired Leonardo, and Allegri was the head coach now. And I was coming back from an injury, my knee, and this and that. Allegri didn't want me to play. I wasn't his player. He had no interest. And I remember I came back from the World Cup, and I had to do preseason aside from the team because of my injury. And every time I told them I was ready to play, they're like, no, you're not fit. And I'm like, okay, until the end of preseason where we had our fitness tests. And on all the categories, I was like in the top 5. So now the trainers are like, you have to let him train now because he's proven. So he's like, okay. So that week I went to him with a translator and I was like, what can I do to be more in your plans? And he looked, I hated him, still do, but I appreciated his response because he didn't sugarcoat it. He said, there's nothing you can do.
Mm.
He said, there's nothing you can do. He's like, you're not my player. You need to look for an opportunity to play elsewhere. And I was like, wow, I was pissed off, but at the same time, I was like, well, now I can put a period on this sentence and then look somewhere else. Mm-hmm. There was another occasion when I was in Malaga, and what's his name? What's that head coach's name? He was at Man City for a little bit, South American. Pellegrini. We were playing, we had like a 3-game series with Barcelona in league and then cup, or cup and then league and then cup. And he was like, I'm not going to play you in the league, but I'm going to play you in both cup games. So I'm like, all right, cool, bet. So I'm training to play Barcelona, this and that. Day of the game, still in my mind mentally prepared. Right before we go into the pregame meal, he pulls me aside. He's like, you're not going to play today. And I was like, what? You told me I was. He's like, I never said that. And then I lost it. I lost it with him. I was like, yo, you're a liar. You told me to prepare for this game. And from that day forward, when I, basically confronted him with his lie, he was over. He was like, all right.
I had that same kind of thing that happened to me when I left PSV to go to Man City. Hiddink left, and then Ronald de Boer came in. So it was preseason in summer, and that's one thing what Boo said. You respect the coach, but you don't really have to like him. So I was training, this and that, blah blah blah. So he pulled me to his office, and this is like maybe 2 weeks before. No, probably a little bit longer. Maybe 3 weeks before the transfer window closed. Pulled me to his office, and the first thing he asked, I'll never forget this conversation. First thing he asked me, he says, "How many goals you scored last year?" And I said, 6. That's not enough. For me, as a winger, you have to score. How many goals you scored the year before? I said 13. He said, okay, I can do with that. He said, but last year you only scored 6. He's like, for me, he's like, you can stay, but you're not going to be my first choice. I'm right now. I'm in the midst of looking for another player.
Jeez.
So if you want to stay, yeah, he said it to me. Straight. One-on-one, straight in the face. He said, you can stay, but you're not going to play. Basically, I'm not going to be a starter anymore. I'm not going to play. But I respected it because he told me the truth. He told me the truth and said, hey, you're not in my plans. So if you want to go, you can leave. So that's when I went to Man City. But yeah, I had the same kind of thing. He told me straight up, not playing. You're not playing.
I don't want us to dwell on my past and Beasley's past, but I want to ask you a big question. And this has to do with U.S. soccer, right? Obviously, you were there for 5 years or so. What are now that you can reflect and think back, what are your feelings or opinions towards Sunil and his presidency at U.S. Soccer? Do you think he did a good job? Do you think he managed situations well with you or anything? Like what give us the real detail about how you feel, what went down.
No, obviously the first moment when he told me that they want to let me go after we lost the first 2 World Cup qualifiers in 2016, it was a shock and it was a big disappointment. But there were a lot of underlying things going on already in the 2 previous years since the World Cup in Brazil, 2014. A lot had to do a little bit with MLS because MLS had the impression that I wanted all the players in Europe, which I never said and never did. I think we were 12 or 13 players in Brazil from MLS, and I love every one of them. But there were a lot of other issues going on in the background, which I was aware of, the coaching staff was aware of. So when he said, okay, when we want to make a switch, obviously you're disappointed and you love what you do or what you were doing. But to his credit, really, he was honest, straightforward with it. You know, he came all the way over to LA, you know, to have that conversation. And, you know, you shook hands afterwards and wished everyone the best. I think Sunil, over so many years of his work, if it was now as a president for US Soccer, if it's in other roles that he had in there before, he works his backside off for soccer in this country. You know, he was a major part of getting the World Cup back to the United States in 2026, which is humongous. I mean, this is the biggest thing that could happen to us, you know, all of us, you know, that we have another World Cup to host. And this is big time. Sunil was involved in that. Now, are you always on the same page? You know, you have different ideas of doing things? Absolutely. And I think that's what you learn, especially after your playing days. You go, and that's what I hope for Bees and for Oguchi, you know, going into the management side, going into the coaching side. But one of those lessons you get then later on when you're not on the field anymore, where you have all the influence in the world, because on the field you have the influence right there on your feet. You know, you can decide a game, however you are being part of it. You know, but later on, it's a lot about people management. It's a lot about reading people, working with people, and you realize that often you might be not on the same page with those people. You know, it might not click in that moment. You know, it's not necessarily something bad. You know, because obviously we are all different. We all look at it differently. So when a lot of people said, well, he wants the European way, and they wanted to have it, what is the identity of US soccer? What is the identity of the US men's national team? And so, and I always said, well, I see it as a mixture of all those components flying in, a Hispanic mixture, African-American mixture, a European mixture. You know, we have the dual citizenship boys coming in. It's so diverse, but that's America.
Yes.
You know, I always said, that's America. So
in your opinion, then, with Sunil, and if you were, let's say if you were Sunil, would you have ended your coaching, or would you, yes, no, and why?
No, for sure not, because I told him clearly, still when we were last game was in Costa Rica, then when we lost there, that was right around the elections in 2016. So that's what right the moment when we lost into Mexico at home and then in Costa Rica, the team was in a transition, which all the teams between two World Cups are in transition. You know, that's so you try to build a new core. I mean, obviously you have talents coming up like a Christian Pulisic, you know, and other younger players that we see now already part of the team. So for me, those two losses were no problem at all. I told him clearly that I see that team going actually in the Final Four of the World Cup in Russia. Well, he had a different idea, and the people that surrounded him had a different idea, and that's just the way it is. And then you have to accept it. You don't like it, for sure not, but you have to accept it. So I was convinced that this roster that kind of was more and more getting clearer and clearer with the younger players coming into that picture had the potential of going really far in the World Cup in Russia. You know, I was then in Russia working for the BBC in England, and I saw many games, and I often thought, you know, and I actually met Sunil in Moscow as well. He was there as well. And I would have envisioned the US team making a really good run in the World Cup in Russia, but unfortunately it didn't happen.
I just want to know one thing. How did you get Sunil and USAC to agree with having a traveling gym? Every country, every city, every country we went to, we had a gym inside. We took out a whole what do you call it, ballroom, right? Ballroom. We had a whole gym inside the hotel. How did you do
heavy
that?
equipment, Bees?
Oh, heavy equipment. We had bikes.
Yeah.
We had weights. I mean, everything. I mean, it was a gym.
Yeah.
We took out like basically 2 ballrooms, and we had our own gym.
Nice.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
I got money, baby.
That's the one side. The other side is, but the other side was that US Soccer was open-minded. I mean, Sunil was open-minded. I said to him, listen, if you want to be really professional, then we have to do these and these things, because, you know, when you guys know it better than me, but when there's a thunder and lightning in Miami, you cannot go on the field, you cannot train. You have to be always ready to maybe run a session inside, you know, and and make sure that the players are perfectly prepared for the training sessions, you know. So I brought all these elements in, and I really have to give Sunil and the people at US Soccer a lot of credit. You know, Tom King was the guy implementing it all, and they worked really their backsides off to make it all happen. The way we were prepared for Brazil in 2014, I think it was amazing. It was amazing because we went there half a year before the World Cup in the January camp. We did in Brazil, you know. Quietly, we did it there. We tested out the training site from Sao Paulo. We tested out the hotel. When we got back in June then to the World Cup in Brazil, we felt like we were here already. That's our home. Everybody gave us a hug when we walked in, you know, after 5 minutes. So there's a lot of good work being done at US Soccer. I think the new leadership now in charge, they are challenged, you know, they are trying to make things happen. You know, you got to give them time and as well. It's not easy. To handle this country is, for me, the biggest learning curve was, you know, how do you manage this? Youth development is the biggest topic. How do we get the kids out there? How do we identify them? How do we develop them? How do we make sure that they have a fair chance to get into college, and then especially to pro teams? And that's why it is so, I think it's so crucial that guys like you, Bees and Goods, you have to stay in the game. You know,
they have to include them, coach, too.
Yeah, I know this is so important. Yeah, I know. And I know that because what happens is when you stop your careers and you would like to go into an MLS club or you know, in whatever environment, obviously people fear you a little bit because they say, shit, you know, those were big players, you know, Bees 126 caps, you know, Coach 69, I think it's so they look up to you, and because they look up to you, they don't open the door then, you know. So we got to figure out ways, and I hope that US Soccer is there helpful down the road for former players to open those doors to get your coaching badges or management educational stuff done. And stay in the game, because your practical experience, and especially your people management experience, that you can now reverse. So you were from player to a coach. Now you hopefully later go from a coach or manager to a player, because now you know exactly how this kid there is thinking. You know what goes on, what makes him scared, how do we get the most out of that kid? You know, I was really, I give you an example. I was worried when Christian Pulisic made that big move from Dortmund to Chelsea. I said, hopefully, you know, maybe it was too early. He was really comfortable now in Dortmund, and they adored him in Dortmund. But it seems like it worked out fine. You know, he's strong enough. He's focused, and he's doing well. Now we wish him the best at the injury that he took in the FA Cup final soon over. But
who won that game, FA Cup final?
Oh, we have an Arsenal fan. He's an Arsenal fan.
My fault.
Yeah,
my fault.
Okay. Yeah, so you got
wrong topic.
Yeah, wrong topic. Yeah.
even though coach, hey coach, I got a lot of love for you, but you're a Tottenham man, but I still got a lot of love for you. And respect.
You heard me. You talk about you know, obviously people like Bees and myself who have played the game, remaining in the sport, and I think your perspective is so unique. Because I feel like you've held roles of top player, top coaches, and director roles, right? Which is very definitely unique in this modern frame. I candidly, and I'll tell you guys this, when I looked at you, you know, obviously I saw a good coach, but for me, I saw even a better director, right? Because you had all these different ideas that thought outside the box that, you know, generally speaking, don't happen in directorial positions. Do you as personally in yourself feel that you're better served in that role, like as a manager, director, or as like a head coach?
they're basically different places with different versions. You know, you look at the German model. Do you have, you know, a head coach, and you have actually a general manager or a sporting director, or, you know, sometimes if you look at Dortmund where Christian played, you know, there's two sporting directors, Michael Zorc and Sebastian Kehl. You know, then they have another advisor with Matthias Sommer. So you have three former players very close to the team and doing certain things. I don't know how they divide it up, but, you know, so those roles were basically built there for former players to kind of make the transition from the player into management, you know. And then some go. I just, when I was now in Berlin for a couple of months, I had Arne Friedrich, who played for the Chicago Fire, you know. I made him come into the club to right away transition into the performance side of things. You know, so it's more technical related, but it's more on the performance side and not on the management side. You know, I always loved both sides. I love the coaching side, but I also love the management side of kind of, okay, the overall picture. Where should this whole thing go towards? You know, and that drove me more into a position where I love to have assistant coaches on my side that I almost give full authorization to run the training session. And that's more the English model. Right. You know, the English model is you know, when you went to Alex Ferguson and you see his training sessions, you know, you were lucky if he was on the field. Yeah. He was maybe on a phone call in the office.
Walter Smith was the same way in Rangers. You never saw him. Yeah, you never.
So I like that a lot too, but I also, because, you know, I mean, if you have a club like Rangers, which is humongous, it's a massive club, or, you know, Man United, Man City, and these teams, and Arsenal, and so on. So you need to be really aware of not getting lost into too many little details. You know, you need to make sure, like in Arsene Wenger over 20 years at Arsenal, to that the boat is going the right direction, you know. And then it's sometimes better, I think it's often better, you empower people close to you to do specific jobs. You know, you give your assistant coach a training session real quick, make sure this and this. You have your performance coaches, and that's why we had a traveling gym, because I knew these guys that were running it from Athletes Performance, you know, these guys were doing an amazing job, far better than I could ever do, you know. So I like to empower people around me, but I like also to have the overall kind of responsibility that everybody works hand in hand and makes things happen. You know? So I like the English role. To get back to your question, Guch, the English role the best.
Yeah, you definitely saw that more in England. I remember, like at QPR, Harry Redknapp was. You might see him walk on the field the last 20 minutes of training, you know, because he's coming from his office, and then he says his piece, and then he walks off. And the assistant coaches really were the ones that ran it. And that's interesting you say that, because for me, in terms of leadership, in terms of leading a group or a team, it's about empowering the people around you. That's what being a true leader is, you know, not having the ego to feel like you have to do it all on yourself, but giving that responsibility and that power to the people around you who, in certain instances, could potentially do it better than you. Yeah. You know, and that's
Coach, is a U.S. soccer boat going in the right direction?
I don't know. I hope so. I mean, I keep all my fingers crossed for Greg Berhalter, his team. You know, they gave him support. You know, there's Brian McBride now involved in it, Ernie Stewart, so two former players, which is huge. You know, yes. I actually, when I took over, I asked for those roles. I asked Claudio Reyna in the beginning. I actually asked Brian McBride. Then Casey Keller, I wanted him badly on my side. Yeah. I think Casey would have been fantastic with his experience. And he's obviously a straightforward personality, says his opinion loud and clear. I hope that they understand now that it's really, really, really important, and not only to obviously to qualify for Qatar, but also, you know, getting this whole national team up and going, because it's just too big. I mean, the national team is the locomotive of the sport in your country, and now especially with 2026 on the horizon. You know, it's humongous. So I keep my fingers crossed. I know, you know, that it's new leadership there. Also, they need to get their hands around it. Will Wilson is the CEO, basically. So give him time. Give him.
Has he spoken to you?
No, but okay. You know, maybe that occasion comes up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we just keep our fingers crossed.
How do you suggest they go about this, right? Because obviously U.S. Soccer has never reached out, or MLS. What do you suggest to these gentlemen in terms of getting some attention or getting opportunities? What do you think the first step they need to take? Because obviously you've been in that situation as well.
Well, it's the biggest kind of lesson you get when you stop playing, unfortunately, is that you kind of realize, you sit there and you realize, okay, what I'm really good at in life in general is to play soccer. So when I stopped in '98, after the World Cup in France, I came here to California, and I had a year-old son then at that time, and I was jogging along the beach, and in a stroller I had him, and I realized, shit, you know what? Your playing days are over, and what are you gonna do now? So you cannot wait until people reach out to you. It's unfortunately, maybe they don't think that way. Maybe people should automatically think maybe, okay, B stop playing, good stop playing, this guy stop playing. We need to reach out to them and get them reintegrated into one way or another. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. It's just not the way it works, or whatever. And so I think it's really, really important is for everyone that stops playing and go into that transition phase, into what's next, basically, is reaching out, is trying to network, okay, let me go down my phone book and see, who's doing what, what teams, if it's MLS, if it's US Soccer, if it's maybe in Europe, So what I did then, I realized I played in France and Italy and England, obviously in Germany, and I started then to talk to people. Just, okay, what did you do? I talked to former teammates, how did you manage your transition? My response was I then went back to school and took some computer classes and learned more the business side. I had friends at Adidas, actually, they helped me out with their human resource department with lessons, lectures, and stuff like that. So ongoing education is huge, I think. That's definitely something to kind of keep your brain going, because you cannot let this one fall asleep. Then that's a problem.
I just want to interject. Damarcus Beasley was about to start an online degree. Unfortunately, through COVID, it's been delayed. Right? Is that correct, Bees?
What's that?
That you were going to start an online degree? You was going to start
but my internet just went out. That's why. I didn't hear nothing you just said. So what'd you say?
We were saying that I was trying to give you some credit and also tease you at the same time that you were about to start your online degree.
Yeah, I didn't get accepted.
COVID. Oh, okay.
I did. I was definitely trying, but I got denied.
Yeah.
On that, but no, all good.
Yeah, coach. So what's next for yourself, and are you hungry to get back into the game? You've done international, you've done club. What's next for you besides Jamaica?
No, I mean, once you are in this crazy soccer world, and you live and you breathe it and you're part of it, you're always ready for the next adventure. It's because every kind of lesson that you take, if it's a club or if it's a national team, it's a huge learning curve, so you get a lot out of any type of adventure that you did in the past. And once something stops, then, that you're getting ready already for the next one. And I'm always open. And the thing is, it's a good thing, in soccer, the world is, it's global. It's a global thing, something can happen in South America, suddenly opens up, or
hold on. So the rumors are true. You are going to Brazil. Let's get a round of applause for that.
It's not because I see your picture.
The rumors are you're going to Brazil. The coach will be visiting you soon. We'll be visiting you soon.
Oh, we need to learn another language then.
There's nothing that you haven't kind of accomplished in this game, and it's definitely is an honor to sit here with you. And I'm sure if these guys get a chance to be coached by you, but person who study your game, Is there any regrets you have as a player, like maybe a team you didn't go to because you didn't want to transfer to, or maybe partying with Maradona too much in Italy? Is any regrets you ever had as a player?
Oh, no regrets at all.
Good.
No regrets at all. I mean, whenever you take whatever decision in life, you just need to be convinced of this is the right decision now. If it turns out the wrong decision afterwards, then it's a lesson. Yes. Take it as a lesson, and you will make many decisions in life. They are not the right ones, but as long as you learn out of them, yeah, just they gotta say then shit happens. Gotta move on.
Well, listen, Jürgen, man, I just want to say again, thank you so much for making the time to sit down with us, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll see you in Brazil. You'll come visit, do a podcast out there, or wherever you go to next, man. Let's give a big round of applause, please, for the legend. Definition of a legend, right? Thank you so much, Jürgen.
Thanks, Jürgen.
No, thank you, guys. Great to see you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good seeing you too. Awesome.
Right. Take care.
Cheers.
All right, cheers.
Bye.
Yes, sir.
The legend himself.
The legend himself.
I wanted him to say a striker. I wanted him to say, I don't know, Christian. I wanted him to say Mbappe. I don't know, somebody.
Yeah, it's just tough to so genuine. He's a humble person. It's hard for him to be like, hey, you know what? Cristiano Ronaldo's like me. It mixed with a little bit of Messi and a touch of Ozil, So, but we wanted him to sweat a little bit. And again, we right here, we just try to ask really genuine questions that we really feel. There's no PR agent that's reaching out to us to say things we have to talk about. And I always appreciate you guys always being vulnerable and being genuine, And I was looking for him, though, to say specifically about coaching you guys, and he hit the whole general USA.
Yeah, he did.
And I was like, let that one slide, but
I was, I'm sensitive. I was ready for a comeback.
Yeah, the comeback.
I was like, come on, man, I'm ready.
Goose never do nothing wrong, so he has something to say.
And I'm the instigator, so I know what hit his buttons. So I'm like, I can't wait till he say something about Goose. Nah, but I know he wouldn't. I know he's a class act, and obviously you guys were class players, so. That was an easy one. But my dudes, I just want to say, and he's a very humble person, doesn't want anybody to know anything, but I want to say congratulations to Damarcus Beasley, who had a transfer deal with CBS. And he'll be featured on your Champions League and Europa streaming.
Yeah, that's why I don't have nothing behind me. I had to change my look.
My man. He's gonna be representing audio with the crack and visual with the CBS now.
Nah, he's visual audio. He's always cracked.
He's got a shame now. He's got a shame.
I did. I shaved it down. You saw it, right?
And don't.
man.
Yeah, go ahead, Beast.
I'm just saying. I'm really excited. I don't know nothing about media, but I know a little bit about soccer. I know a little bit about football, so.
Exactly. And
but it's going to be. I'm excited about it. It's going. I'm working with some good people. UEFA League and Champions League, so it's gonna be a busy.
Right? Yeah. When you first told me about it, I was thinking like Champions League, stretched out. You have one game, and then 2 months later another game. All this is compact, right? All this compact. And I forgot about that. So
every game's one off. Every game's one off. Oh, after the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Every game's one off. So
you were telling me how busy. I'm like, man, they got one game a month. And Gooch, this man complaining. Then I forgot. I didn't realize we're trying to make up for last season.
COVID, baby.
Yeah, I forgot all of it. I forgot all about it.
You talking about work? It's work.
Yeah.
I'll be up till 2 or 3 in the morning, going through teams, kind of seeing how they play, a little bit about they, star players, something.
Yeah,
you look a little older today. I don't know.
I'm tired. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning.
Oh man, I'm happy. Congrats.
It's definitely a new space. A new space for me.
There's nobody better that should be it, man. You've played in these competitions.
Scored in these competitions.
You've scored in these competitions.
But it's media. Did I like doing interviews?
No, but you represent all the players out there. You gotta look at it that way.
I'm just bullshit. I'm really excited.
Yeah,
I'm happy that they thought of me to do this and kind of give my insight, a little bit of intelligence that I have with the game.
Hey.
But no, I'm excited. I'm happy to do it. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's gonna be fun. They said I can be myself, so y'all gotta call me if y'all see something that I'm not doing or I should have been doing something. Y'all gotta let me know.
Gooch, that don't sound like us, right? That don't sound like
listen. First of all,
I'm gonna get a text on live TV. What the hell you just say?
you read the game very well as a player. Your next transition probably is going to be head coach of Arsenal, based on
Oh yeah, because of Mookie's definition.
yeah.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
no, he don't fit the caliber. He don't fit the bill. He can't coach my side, Arsenal, man. He don't fit the bill, man.
If I do, I'm keeping Ozil.
But you see that Black Lives Matter, Mookie? Come on, he got to fit the bill now.
I mean, I don't know what's going on, Ozil. He must curse everybody out in practice or something because they can't. Obviously, we know it's not the football. Like, I'm seriously, I'm thinking that must be it because. I mean, every coach since Wenger now, they like, listen, they try, they use him, and then eventually he fades out. And Arteta came, like, yeah, it's my guy. He played with him. They have understanding. I'm thinking maybe he just curses people out during practice. Like, you suck. You should have passed me the ball. I don't know. It can't be football. It has to be something else. I don't know what it is. But we'll figure it out. And if we have to, we move on and get him out of there. He'll come to the MLS, you know. So, but fellas, man, it's always been a pleasure and a joy. Again, enjoy your week. To our listeners, make sure you're subscribing. And you know what? You know what I need? I need Gooch, can you take us away with something, brother, from off the top of your head?
Man, look, man, this is a great week. You know, we started off this year with COVID, but it seems like it's going to end really well. You know, we got a lot of things in the mix. Bees, CBS, you know, Chris Mueller balling in Orlando.
Arsenal winning.
Arsenal's winning. You know, 2020 might end on a better note than it started off with. But
hey, started off good. Don't get it twisted. Start off good.
What, just go a couple days ago because Arsenal won?
No, because we was in Jamaica chilling.
Oh yeah, there you go. It did start off good.
All I'm saying, you know, put all your efforts toward good things, and great things are gonna keep on happening, boys.
Boom. Peace.
There you go. Peace.